In today's Get Ready With Me, I'm on the hunt for the perfect neutral palette for us over 50 gals. That's coming up next. Welcome back, I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything makeup, skincare, and style for the over 50 woman. Well, you guys, I did something that I swore to myself I wasn't gonna do. I bought the Going Coconuts palette from Colorpop. There's been so much hype about this palette. It's sold out a couple of times, and so many people have talked about how much they loved it. And I would look at it and think, I'm not so sure what the big hype is about. It's a beautiful neutral palette, but it's a neutral palette. However, I just kept hearing about it and hearing about it and hearing about it, and I finally just pulled the trigger and bought it. What I realized is that I was a little bit skeptical about how good could that neutral palette be, because I've had some frustration about finding the perfect neutral palette. And I realized that it was my emotions that were keeping me from giving this palette a try. So I've made 2020 the year where I'm going to seek out what I feel is the perfect neutral palette. Is this it? I guess we'll have to see. I started thinking about the fact that I wasn't that impressed when I saw the Going Coconuts palette, even though a lot of people were over the moon about it. And it was because it didn't seem to have that little extra something that I would look for in a palette that I'd be crazy about. For me, a neutral palette is an absolute essential because although color is really nice, particularly if you're 20 or 30 years younger than I am, it's not something that works for me at my age, at least for my taste. I decided to challenge myself in 2020 to find the perfect neutral palette. That's a very important thing because I usually feel like I look better in neutral colors. I know that colors, bright colors and bold colors are really beautiful, but they don't really work for me on a daily basis. It's a little fun to play with, but not something that I particularly feel that I look my best in. I feel like at my age, with my skin and coloring, a neutral palette is really my best look. Although I own a lot of neutral palettes, I can't say that I own one that I'm absolutely over the moon with. So 2020 is going to be the year that I seek out what I think is the perfect neutral palette, and I hope that I can find it. And when I talk about the perfect palette, I'm not only talking about a good formula that blends well, that doesn't get muddy, that's at a great price, looks good. I'm looking for something that has a little bit more of an aesthetic to it. In other words, it's a brilliant colorway. It was really thoughtfully put together. The finishes are gorgeous, and probably I'm thinking that the finishes are gorgeous for someone my age with a little bit more mature skin. Sparkly doesn't really work for me. I don't want to walk around looking like I've been hit by fairy dust, but I do like a little bit of shimmer and a sophisticated look for the evening. This year, I'm going to be really on the hunt for the perfect neutral palette, and I hope that you're going to join me. I'm planning on trying at least one neutral palette every month, and we'll see if we can't find together the perfect neutral palette. It'll be a fun journey. I'm sure we'll find a lot of wonderful palettes, and it's something that we can do together. If you have a suggestion for a perfect neutral palette, make sure you put it in the comments down below so I can put it on the list of something that I'm going to try. Appreciate you joining me in this first little Get Ready With Me on the hunt for the perfect neutral palette. And with that, let's get in. I have my face all prepped with my serums and moisturizers and of course my sunscreen. So I'm going to start in with some primers today, and I wanted to make sure that I did them on camera for you guys because I'm going to be working with the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow primer. If you haven't seen this yet, I wanted you to see it because it's so very concentrated. You need such a tiny amount, and it looks different on my eyelids at least than most eyeshadow primers I've used. So I'm going to go ahead and just this tiny little tube, it's a silver tube, it's really pretty, and look at how much I have on my finger. This is almost going to be too much for both eyes. So I just sort of tap it in between both fingers, and I try to do just one eyelid at a time because look at how spreadable and potent that is. It's really a thick primer, and I'm liking it a lot. So I'll go ahead and just do one eye and get that tapped in and then move on to the other eye. One thing about this primer is that it does crease. So what that means is I'll go ahead and put it on and then put on my face primer, and then before I start with my eyeshadow, I'll tap it out again and then it'll be fine. But it's very moist, and so it does crease in the you know, of course, the crease area of my eyes, but once you tap it out that second time, it's fine. Next, I'm going to go in with the Revlon Photo Ready. This is their Perfecting Primer. I'm liking it a lot. I don't know if I like it better than my e.l.f. Putty Primer, but I like it enough that I've kept it on my makeup table and I keep using it, so that says something. And I actually take a couple of pumps and start in the T-zone of my face and work that through. And then I always like to make sure that I get it underneath my eyes, because that's the area that I really want whatever product I put to stay. So I make sure I tap a good layer of that underneath my eyes. And then right down here in my marionette lines, I have a lot of movement with my skin. So I try to get it in there too, so it has a better chance of holding my foundation there and not letting it settle into the cracks. I do have some dry peeling skin on my face today. I've been using my derma roller, which I love, but I do get a kind of a little couple of days of dry skin because I'm kind of new to it. Just have to work around it. I use more moisturizer at night, and then I always try to put an oil on top of my face at the very end of my evening routine to kind of really add hydration. I'm going to be doing my brows with this Wet n Wild little brow pencil. This is in the color Ash Brown. For some reason, this is the way I've been doing my brows lately. I used to have a much more complicated routine with pomades and a pencil and this and that and the other thing. I just seem to be doing this, and I'm not sure why. One thing that comes to mind is that I have been derma rolling my eyebrows because I hear that it helps with hair growth. And I think my eyebrows are growing in a little bit thicker, so I'm feeling like I don't need to do as much to my brows. So that's just what I suspect. I don't know if I'm making that up or not. So this pencil has one of those kind of tips on it that it has a thin end and a flat end, and it's really nice to take that flat end because I can really cover a lot of ground very quickly. I really appreciate this color because it's a cool brown, and I really like that for my eyebrows. So here's our little palette, and I thought we'd go ahead and swatch it today together. I haven't even swatched this. I got it, I opened it up, I looked at it, I put it in my palette drawer. So let's go ahead and swatch it today and take a look what all these 9 colors are made of. Here we have the top row. Please don't make me tell you the colors. I can't read them. I'm sure that if you go online, you can see them. So here's the top row, and let's go ahead and see what those are made of. Ooh, that's pretty. So there's the first 3. Here's the second 3. Go ahead and put those here. I'm not much of a swatcher. I've heard that the metallics in this palette, or the shimmer shades, I don't know, are they shimmers or metallics? I'm not sure, are really the winners. So the outside rows are the mattes, and then that one row down the middle is the metallic shades. Here are the last 3 shades, the darkest shades. I'll put them right down here. I hope you can see them. I'm getting really close to my elbow. There they are right there. So that's a very, very pretty palette. Well, we'll see how the look comes out today. I'm going to go ahead and tap my brush into this color here. I was actually able to read it. It's called Lovely Bunch. And just get a little bit on my brush, and I'm going to work that into the crease area. Well, I can say that the formula is very pigmented, and it's going on very smoothly. And this is really a very pretty color. So good job there. Just working down a nice soft shade in that transition area, so that all the colors blend together really well as we build up the look. Now I'm going to go in with a blending brush and just blend out those edges. Now I'm going to take a flat brush and go into this color right here. It's called Get Crackin'. See, I'm doing good at reading these colors. And just get a little bit on this flat brush, and I'm going to start working the outside third of my outer eye. Just laying that down very gently, and I use a patting motion because the skin on my eyelids is very crepey, so it moves. So if I pat it, it doesn't move quite as much. And I'm just working that up and down in that outside third of my eye. Other side. And you can see I'm kind of angling that out just a little bit towards the bottom of my eyebrow. As I've gotten older, I've had to take my transition color and my accent color up a little bit more because the skin of my eyelids is sagging a little bit more. So I have to kind of compensate and bring that color up so I get that dimension in my eye. I'm going to go back in with my blending brush and just start with circular motions, blending that color in, kind of coming in to that crease area. Just really soft. I'm not moving the color too much, just softening up those edges. I can say that these are blending really well and the colors are beautiful. This accent shade is interesting. It looks like it has a little gold shimmer in it, but when you start blending it out, that kind of disappears. Now I'm just ever so gently moving that darker color into the crease area just to define that crease a little bit more. Now I'm going to take my finger and go into the shimmer shade right here. It's the one in the very center of the palette. It's called Cocoa Crush. I'm going to get a little bit of that on my finger and just start tapping that on the lid. And that is a really pretty wow. Okay, there's the wow factor right there, ladies. It's so pretty. It's kind of I would say it's a little gold, but it almost has a little bit of bronze in it as well. It has a lot of shimmer, but it's not falling on my face too much. I'm getting a little bit. I did get some fallout with that shimmer shade. I'm just taking a makeup wipe and kind of cleaning that up. Now I'm going to go back in with my fluffy blending brush and just blend that into that crease area. So it's a really soft line. And I can see that some of that sparkle is working up into the crease area. Not my favorite thing. Feeling a little like Tinkerbell here. I'm going to go back in with a crease brush, tap it into that first transition shade, which is Lovely Bunch. And I'm going to go over that area that has a little bit of sparkle in it, where I don't really want the sparkle, and see if I can't kind of eliminate it. Now I'm going to take a flat brush and go into this color right here, Shred. It's a matte cream shade, really pretty. And that's just going to get swept right underneath my eyebrow, just to highlight that area a little bit. I'm going to leave the eye look there for right now. I really enjoyed the shadows. They're beautiful colors. They blend really well. I'm a little disappointed in all the sparkles in that shimmer shade that was right in the middle of the palette. Cocoa Crush. It's just a little bit too sparkly for me, and I got some fallout and it got into my crease area. So not a fan too much of that, but everything else I'm loving. I'm going to go into Complexion now and start off with the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation. I bought this about, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. I've used it every day since. I'm really loving it. I can't say that I love it more than a couple of other foundations, but I love it just as much. Enough that I've kept it on my makeup table and I keep using it. I just haven't had any problems with this at all. I take about 1.5 pumps to do my entire face, and I'll just start dotting that over my complexion. And for me, I've got to focus on the sunspots or age spots, whatever you want to call them, on the outside of my face, because those will show through a foundation as the day wears on. I'm going to go in with my little BoxyCharm foundation brush. I'm loving this brush. It came in one of my BoxyCharms, and it's their own brand. So I think you might be able to buy it on their website. I'm really enjoying how it puts the foundation on. Once I have my foundation all worked in with the foundation brush, I go back in with my sponge and just tap it out. It gives it such a beautiful satin finish. I just haven't found anything else that will put a finish on a foundation like a good beauty sponge. To set that foundation, I'm going to go in with my beloved Coty Airspun powder, just to set it real lightly. I'm not sure what I love so much about this powder, the way it works or the way it smells. It just has so many wonderful memories. It smells like childhood, at least for those of us my age. I'm going to go in with a big fluffy brush. Got a little bit in the lid of my container and just real lightly set that foundation. You know what's interesting to me? I'm not a chemist, so I don't know why. This Light Illusion foundation has a little bit of a glow to it, and yet when I put this powder on it, it doesn't knock out that glow. It still comes through, so I find that kind of interesting, and I like it. I'm so excited about this next product. This is my concealer, and it's the Pretty Vulgar Concealer. I'm not sure if you've seen this. I think it might be new. I got this in one of my subscription boxes. I'm not sure which one. And I wasn't that interested in it when I got it, but I went ahead and used it, and I was blown away when I used it. I've never used a concealer like this, and to be honest with you, even though I've got all those fabulous concealers, I just did a concealer video, I like all those concealers, I've been using this nonstop since I got it. There's just something about it that's so interesting. It is the creamiest, concealer I've ever used. It stays in place. It does a good job of covering my dark circles. When it goes on, it just feels like skincare. So here, I just put a little bit on my hand right there. I'm not even sure you can see it. But there's something about this concealer and the consistency of it that I just... So it has this kind of interesting little, I don't know, tilted doe foot applicator. And I go ahead and just put... And you can see I'm using a lot more of it than I generally use with a concealer just because of the way it acts. It's just really enjoyable. I don't know how else to say it. So I put a little bit underneath my eyes, and for me this is a lot of concealer. And then I'll just start tapping it out. It feels so good going on my eyes. It's so funny. I look forward to putting it on, which I think is so funny because it's just a concealer, and yet it's such an enjoyable product to use. The only thing that I wish is that I wish it was a little bit lighter. I'm not sure what color it is that they sent, but if I was choosing it in store, I'd probably choose a little bit more of a color that would brighten my under eyes. But that being said, I really like the look of what it is they sent me, even when the look is finished. Once I have that patted in with my finger, I go back in with my blending sponge and just tap it out to get that nice satin finish. To set my concealer, I'm going to use the e.l.f. HD Loose Setting Powder and a little angle brush. Put a little bit in the lid, tap it onto my brush, tap it off, and then I just very gently press that underneath my eyes to set that concealer. I know there are some people that don't set their concealer, and that's wonderful. They don't have to do that, but I find that mine just looks so much better throughout the day when I do set it. For bronzer, I'm going to be using my tried and true Butter Bronzer in the color Bronzer. This is just such a fan favorite, and I just keep using it because it's just so easy. Put a little bit on my brush and just start placing that around my face. So one of the things I've been doing lately is kayak shopping. I actually am an avid kayaker, and I owned 3 kayaks before I left the country to travel for a couple of years, and so I sold all my kayaks. So here I am back in the States without a kayak. Well, I'm in the market right now for a new kayak. I know exactly which one I want. I bought the rack, and I bought one of those hydraulic racks where they actually come out from the top of your car and down, so you don't have to lift the kayak up to the top of the car. They're called elevators. They're by Thule. I've had them before. I had 2 on my last vehicle before I left the country. I sold that car too. And so I'm getting ready for summer. What are you guys doing to get ready for summer or even spring? For blush, I'm going to be using my little Colorpop blush. And again, I can't read the color. It's this color. It's actually really pretty. It's kind of a dusty rose. I'll put this on the back of my hand. Let's see if you guys can see it. So it's right there. Isn't that pretty? Just so nice and muted and understated. And of course, I always put that towards the outside upstairs area of my cheeks to give the illusion that my cheeks are a little bit higher than they actually are. Then go back in to blend with my big fluffy brush. For highlight today, I'm going to be using my Sofx palette from Revolution. I bought this on a sale towards the end of last year and didn't use it for about a month or 2, and then I dug into it and I haven't stopped. I just really appreciate it. I have a lot of high-end highlighters, and this and my Master Chrome from Maybelline are my favorites. So my 2 favorite highlighters are really drugstore products. One of the things I love about this particular palette, it was very affordable. I'm sure it was under $20, but you have so very many options, particularly this kind of purple, real glamorous illuminating highlighter right here. That would be so pretty for an evening look. I'm going to keep it a little bit subtle today and just go right in here to this shade and just hit the tops of my cheeks. And I always like to put just a little bit on the front and then up above my eyebrow. Can you see that? Pretty. It's really kind of a tightrope to hit my cheeks and avoid my crow's feet. So those are the first world problems that we have with makeup as an older woman, huh? Before I do my mascara, I'm going to tap back into Lovely Bunch with just a really thin pencil. And I'm going to go underneath the outside third of my lower lashes just to sort of tie in the lower lash area to that upper shadow area. I'm going to pop off now, do my tight lining in my mascara, and I'll be right back. For lips today, I'm going to line my lips in the NYX pencil Whipped Caviar. I really love this color, and I really need to order some new pencils in this color. And then the NYX lipstick, the Pin-Up Pout in the color Darling. This is one of my favorite colors. Isn't that pretty? And I always like to line a little bit outside my lips, just on the outside edge of that ridge, because my lips are not as fluffy as they used to be. Isn't that a pretty color? Here we have the finished look. So my thoughts on the Going Coconuts palette. I'll have to say that I liked it. I can't say that I loved it for a few reasons. I liked it because the shadows were very creamy and easy to blend, and the colors really are beautiful. They're lovely. It makes a nice everyday eye neutral look. I'm just a little bit disappointed in all the sparkly in that one shade here right in the middle. I haven't tried the other shimmer shades in this palette, so I can't say whether the fallout is going to be as extreme as it was for the color I used today. I think that if I was 30 years younger, I might delight in all that sparkly on my face, but at my age, it's not something I'm really looking for. I'll have to say that I like this palette. I'm not in love with it yet, but I'm going to continue to use it, and I'll check in with you guys. Maybe we'll do another Get Ready With Me and create a different look using some of the other shades. I think the matte shades in this palette are beautiful. I think it's a good palette. I think it's a good palette at a sale price. I'm not sure that it's a great palette at the regular retail price. So those are just my initial thoughts, and I do still have sparkly stuff all over my face. I'm feeling a little bit like I've been sprinkled with fairy dust. The Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation, this is such a winner in my book. This foundation has so much love out there in the marketplace, and for me, for good reason. It's really a beautiful foundation. It has a lovely finish. I've worn it over and over again in the last several weeks, and I come home and I look in the mirror and my face looks terrific. So I have a lot of praise and a lot of love for this foundation. I'll have to say that I am delightfully in love with this Pretty Vulgar concealer. It just feels so different for me. It feels like a skin treatment going on when I use it, and I really look forward. I'm loving this product. I'm sure I'm going to continue to use it until this little sucker's empty. I want to thank you for joining me in this first little journey looking for the best neutral palette. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. If you're interested in more makeup, skincare, and style for the over 50 woman, stop by prettyover50.com. There's a lot more great information just waiting for you there. It just tickles me when you take a few minutes out of your day to spend it with me. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. Again, I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything makeup, skincare, and style for the over 50 woman. Make it a great day. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.